Hey guys, it's Bailey Wiki, and okay, I hope you guys are sitting down. Check this out. All right, so we're looking at the scene. There's like some lava or whatever. It's just this is my laboratory for something that I've been working on. I'm going to show you guys today. It's really fun. Okay, so there's nothing particularly special about this. You're just seeing some assets. These are some assets that are coming out in the next release and or in the release today. You'll even see some stuff. But watch this. So we've got this banner, right? And if I switch to this, I've got this now animated banner. It's pretty good, right? Blowing in the breeze, you know, pretty good. I've got this one. I can switch to an animated version of that. In fact, I can make all these blow in the wind. And just right off the bat, I've got just like an interesting effect, right? Just dropping in one or two animated tiles really adds a lot to the scene. Okay, what else do we have here? Well, I've got these. These are like little awnings, right, that you can go under. But I've got animated versions of those too. It's the same artwork, it's just animated. And I'm going to show you guys how to do this today. How to take any artwork, like, oh, here's one I just need to press play. And you can animate these things and you can make assets out of them. So I'm not done yet. All right, let's animate this guy, right? Some bubbling stuff. By the way, this is red, so I just colored it purple because it's the artwork came as red. But it just gives you a lot of life to a scene that wasn't built that way or with artwork that wasn't built to be animated. Okay, we're not done yet though. Like look at this. This whole background I can animate. Cool, right? Now these are Webm files, right? So they can be kind of big. So you want to be careful. I'm going to show you how to do this stuff. But let me show you this too. Got this token, and if I switch to this artwork, same artwork, and now it's animated. You can see he's kind of moving around a little bit. His sword's on fire. Crazy, right? You can literally do this with any artwork that you've got. So I'm going to walk you guys through the process that it takes to do this. Forewarning, it's not a simple process. It's not like one tool, you click it, you're done. It's going to take some time, it takes some investment. A lot of the things I'm going to show you are not free, but it's relatively inexpensive. And the fact that you can, just if you're a player and you just want to invest in animating your token, that's such a satisfying thing to do. Just to show you in advance, these are some things that are out today. These are tiles that I've created that you guys may know in the past, and they're all animated. And there's still versions of all these as well, and everything red is colorable. So these are all tiles that I was able to make just from my own assets. And I'll show you what they do to a scene. Here's an example of a city at night and snowy. And you can see with these just these animated assets, you just put a couple of those tiles down and it's super interesting. You can walk under them just like other tiles, other overhead tiles, but it just brings so much life to a scene, like super cheaply, really, relatively inexpensively, right? You don't want to spam a tile or a scene with animated assets like this, but you add one or two and it just really adds a lot. So let's jump in and I'll show you how to do this. So we're going to use three websites today, maybe four. One's kind of optional. You might need to use it. We're going to start with Hailuo, which is it's an AI platform. I think they're based in China. It's really powerful. It's one of the best ones like in the market today. It can create all kinds of stuff. You can just create videos from text. You can use subject references. If you have a character that you want to put into a scene, you can do that. But you can do this image to video thing, which is what we're going to use today. You get a certain number of free credits. You can generate stuff that's got the Hailuo logo watermark on it. If you want to get rid of that, you have to pay a couple bucks for it. I think it's like 10 bucks is probably enough that you need to generate, what you need to do. You are going to have trial and error. I'm going to go through that, show you how to prompt it, show you how to correct errors, some errors that you might be able to expect, and some prompts to help overcome them. And we'll walk through this interface in general. If Hailuo or Hailuo AI, I think is how it's called. If that doesn't work for you, there's an alternative called Krea. Krea has a generate video option, and you can add the same type of stuff here if you pick certain um, they have a lot more language models that they can use. So if you pick one, you can use a start frame, use your image to start you off, and it will also, and then you can pick like which model you want to use, and you have to unpack. I'll show you that a little bit later, but that's an alternative that can also work. Also does cost a little bit of money. And then we're going to use this service called Unscreen. Now, you've heard me talk about remove.bg before, removes backgrounds from PNGs. This is a related company, it might even be their product, I think, but it uses the same technology, removing the backgrounds from videos and like MP4s. So we're going to use that to actually remove any backgrounds that we generate. Then, as an option, if we want the animation to be fluid, meaning it's not going to, you notice here, like when it gets to the animation, it'll kind of jump and stutter. See how it stuttered? If we don't want it to do that, we can reverse the animation back on itself and make a nice seamless loop. So this tool, EZGif, is what we're going to use to make a nice seamless loop. And then we're also going to use EZGif to turn the GIF back into a WebM format. And a WebM format is going to be your smallest format. You can see as a GIF, it's about 4 megs. That's huge for a token to be 4 megs, right? We're going to run it as a WebM, and that's going to reduce it to 536 kilobits. So that's pretty reasonable, right? If you only have 4 animated tokens on your screen, might be easy to justify that. Okay, so that's going to make it its most efficient size. So let's walk through the workflow of how to create one of these things. So I'm here in Hailuo AI, and I've come to my image to video creator, and I have a choice to make here. I can use this one, which is good for live characters. So this is what I'm using to create these tokens. Or I can go to this one, and that's if you want to animate more of like an object, okay? So let me show you some of the things that we've animated here already. Here's an example. Um, this started as a piece of artwork, static piece of artwork, and then we added a prompt to it. So a canopy blowing in the breeze on a transparent background, flapping fabric on a rigid frame, completely still, no camera. This was kind of a first attempt to see what would happen. As I develop it, I might show you some of this stuff, but we'll start to say like terms like static shot. That will help keep it static, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. But how you set up this prompt is going to help you get the outputs that you want, and it will take a few tries. For example, I uploaded, a simple banner image, and I said a banner blowing in the breeze on a white background because I wanted the background to stay consistently one color, make it easy to remove. Flapping fabric on a rigid frame. So if I didn't say that, it was like moving everything else. Completely still camera, no zoom, the frame does not move. I had not added or figured out static shot yet from here, and you can see it's moving too much. So maybe that's okay. Maybe we don't mind if the frame is moving around, but I wanted it to be still. So we go to another one. This one, it went outside of so not only is the frame moving like crazy, but this is going outside of the frame, and that'll look weird if I'm dropping that onto a map, right? So it takes you just kind of have to hit the recreate button and change your prompt a little bit, right? So let's add a static shot of a banner blowing in the breeze, and we'll see if that helps. We're going to leave this on. This actually is going to automatically enhance your prompt for you. I recommend using this. And then we're going to decide if we have an object we want to animate. We'll pick this top one, and we're going to use 30 credits to generate this. So we'll go ahead and run this, and we'll come back and check on that later. So use some of the other ones. Again, this one's moving too much, so you had to recreate it. Same thing here. This one's starting to be a little bit better. Notice I started using static shot. That's just a photography term to say like, the camera doesn't move. Here's another one, slowly zooms in, right? So not quite what we want. So you keep rolling the dice on it. You keep hitting recreate. That's why you're going to go through a few more credits than you might think. This one's pretty good. It's pretty stationary. Probably at a small scale, you wouldn't really even notice it. And this one's pretty perfect, right? Hardly moving at all. This is exactly what we want. So you keep running these and you end up refining these in some cases. Sometimes you just have to run more than once. You can even, when you run them, you can increase the number to 3, 4, 5, 6, just to, I think you run 5 at once, and it will start to create these for you. You can literally take any 2D artwork and do this. So this one's moving around, but by the time I did the second one, I made sure static shot was in there, nice and stiff. These red pixels can be recolored in Foundry using token magic effects. So this banner can be any color I want and animated in any scene that I want, right? We don't want things like shadows. That's why you may test on a white background. You may say black background. You may want to add things like casting no shadow. There's a reason we don't want to cast a shadow, and that's when we remove the background. Shadows will interfere with that. So you really don't want shadows that are being cast. So say casting no shadow or say on a black background, and that will help you avoid that. You can add shadows later in Foundry with token magic effects, but we don't want to do it in this case because it'll create a bunch of weird artifacts. Here's just that static awning, but you can see it's slowly zooming in. That's not going to work for us. I've used static shot on these, but I just had to hit the redo button. You see, this one's pretty good. It's kind of getting out of the frame a little bit, but it's pretty good. This one, the frame is subtly moving. Can you see it? It's going to snap back. See how it snapped back to position? We don't like that. We don't want that frame to move at all. And this one's pretty good. Frame's not moving at all. A nice amount of wind blowing, and it's all staying within the shot, right? So static shot. Let's see what this is. Static shot of a canopy blowing in the wind on a white background, flapping fabric on a rigid frame, images entirely in the frame, completely still camera, no zoom, no pan, right? So you can see I really wanted to try to force that. And sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. Okay, let's keep going. This one was great. First time out of the gate. I think this is a Forgotten Adventures. Forgive me, you guys tell me in the comments if I got this wrong, but I think this is a Forgotten Adventures token. I just had a bunch of tokens that I wanted to animate. And so I uploaded the static one and I said static shot, aerial top-down view of a paladin slowly swinging his mace and flapping his wings. And you can see it's a pretty good shot. It's a little bit outside the frame, but not bad. What you can do to help with this, if you really have animation that's going to take it out of the frame, is in your original artwork, just give it more padding around it, right? So it's going to have a transparent background or some kind of background. Give just more padding around it so this person will be a little bit smaller in the picture. It'll give his wings and stuff enough room to flap around. I ran it again, and I got this weird one, right? So it's really weird flapping movements, and this hammer just goes out of frame and it even transforms into something else. So you'll get weird stuff like this as well. It might take you a few turns. Here's one where I wanted a static shot of a drow mage weaving magic on a black background. Interesting, but not quite working. It's zooming, it's panning, right? Here's a better one. This is a abomination slowly wriggling its tentacles on a black background. And this is pretty good. It's mostly in the shot. I could then remove the background, reverse its animation, and it would have a nice little kind of looped animation. Here's a harpy, just kind of moving, just has a little bit of life to it, right? I could rerun it and try to get other kinds of flapping motion. I'd probably want to make this harpy smaller so it has more space around it in order for these wings to do a little bit more. But that's really awesome to drop that into a scene and have a harpy that's just animated. Show you some other, can do some really weird stuff, right? I just tried changing, weaving magic with his hands. I tried to see if I could get his hands to create more motion. Really wanted to just kind of animate the magic there. Here's another one. Again, didn't quite do it. So this one kind of struck out. Here's a goblin archer, right? This is perfectly good. This is a great little archer to be sitting there on the top of a hill. I wanted him to actually shoot his arrow, but I couldn't get him to do that. I tried it a couple times. Here's where I started this fighter swinging a flaming sword, but you can see I wanted to shrink him down so he had more room for his animation. So I'll do that here in just a second. Here's another goblin archer. Still didn't get him to shoot his bow and arrow. I think if I found one where he was posed with his arrow knocked, then it might work better that way. So you can see it's not a foolproof thing, but this one's really cool. Look how it lit the character up as the sword gets brighter and brighter. Now the problem is it's zooming in, it's out of frame, so we need to keep going on that. Here's, I said I want to animate the electric magic. Pretty cool. Some things are moving around. Wish if I ran some more, I'd probably get some more effect there. But I'd want to maybe try and see if I could do something different with this magic. But again, if you have tokens that your players have been invested in, try uploading them and figuring out if you can change them. Right? This one didn't work out, but check this one out. This is one I went with. I made it more space around him so that there could be more animation. And then it's just a nice little, hey, I'm standing here with a flaming sword, right? I love it. Okay, so once you create your thing here, you can download it. So this little button here will download your creation, and it's going to download it as an MP4. Okay. With your MP4, you're going to come over to Unscreen. You're going to do the Unscreen Pro if you want to. I think maybe you get a couple of free ones. You can try it out. It might come with a watermark, but Unscreen Pro is not too expensive. I don't know, it was like $10 or something like that. And then you can upload your MP4 that you just created. It's going to have a background to it and all that stuff. So let's practice this. Let's use this as a starting point. We're going to upload our image. And we'll say static shots, aerial view of a rogue. Let's try this. Sharpening his swords together on a black background and contained entirely within the frame. We'll go to our character model, which we've got activated, and we'll run it. You can see it working on our animation here, and we'll give it a second to finish. Real quick before I go any further, if you're new to the channel, I'm Bailiwiki. Me and my staff, we run the Bailiwiki YouTube channel, and we also create content for VTT platforms and for Dungeon Draft and Foundry VTT. If you're looking for interesting things to do, if you're looking to discover new things you can do as a GM or as a player, this is hopefully the channel for you. If you're playing VTT, if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons or Warhammer or Pathfinder or DC-20 or anything online, we really highly recommend the Foundry VTT platform because it can kind of do everything. And we'd love for you to join our channel so you can keep up with all the new stuff that we show you. When we do tutorials, a lot of things that we show you, 99% of it, like map assets and prefabs and all sorts of other stuff, is available on the Bailiwiki Patreon. So you can subscribe right now. You can pick up some of the things that you saw today, and you can pick up our entire library of all the other awesome stuff that we've produced over the last few years, all in 1 month. So hopefully you guys can support us that way. If not, love for you to just like and subscribe to the channel, leave comments. That all really helps other people find our content and learn along with you. Okay, so let's see how our first one turned out. Interesting. It's not really, so he's starting to put them together, but he's really going out of frame. So we want to hone this in a little bit. So let's try to do another version. Rogue, maybe sharpening his swords is too complicated for right now. So let's try something else. Holding swords in two hands on a black background, contained entirely within the frame. Let's run it again. Let's actually run a couple versions and see how we do. Okay, so we finished. Let's see how these turned out. Okay, here's one, again, out of frame, not going to be useful. Like the animation though. This one is pretty good. The cape's blowing, everything's staying within the frame. I like it. Here's a third one that I added. It kind of changed the sword a little bit and it gets out of frame. So I like where it was heading with that, but I think I'll stick with this one. Okay, so we'll download this and we'll put it into the next step. Okay, so let's upload our new video. It's going to give us a preview. Don't worry, you're looking for like really crazy artifacts and things like that, but it looks like it did a pretty good job of getting rid of everything, the entire background. So let's click next. And you can run it as a bundle that you can actually edit in like something like After Effects. We're going to keep it simple and go with just a GIF, or GIF, depending on what tribe you're in. Notice some of these from that I've done in the past, it can create some really weird artifacts, right? So maybe I don't like that. So maybe I don't want to use that particular thing. Now there's things that you can do to fix this, but I won't try to show you that in this tutorial today. But here's an example of that lava flowing. Now, while that's running, some things will loop really well, like that animation of a token. But water flowing this way doesn't loop well. And you're not going to want to have water flowing out and then flowing back the other way, right? So there's some differences that you have to do. It's probably more advanced than we have to today, but I would actually put this into something like DaVinci Resolve or some kind of video editing software. I wouldn't output it as a GIF, and I would try to make the transition from the last frame back to the first frame a little bit more fluid. So some things won't work if you're just going to use this kind of easy reverse animation hack. So just keep that in mind. For those of you who are advanced enough to know what I was just talking about, you shouldn't have a problem. Okay, so that process is done. That took a couple of minutes to finish. We're going to download it as a GIF instead of this other type of bundle. Okay, now I want to come over here to EZGif, and I want to do it this way. So I'm going to, you go to ezgif.com, and I'll link to all these in the description of the video. You go to GIF Maker, and you can just upload a file here. In fact, we'll just do that. We'll upload, I know we just made it a GIF, but we'll upload the one we just did. This is a free website, by the way, so you can use this. I use it a lot. You can use as much as you want, seemingly, and it all just works. It does delete all of your stuff after a day, so anything you're done processing you want to download. If you guys have options or alternatives to this that you'd like to recommend, just let us know in the comments. Okay, so what it defaulted to is just showing me all the frames, and this can be really helpful if you've got a frame that's got a weird artifact and you just want to like skip it. You can do that from here. But this just shows you all the frames involved. We're actually not going to use this tool though. What we want to do is come up here to reverse, click that, and we're going to select this. And by the way, you may see it may be slow. Don't worry about that. It's just how it renders in your browser. It may just look odd, but it will come out fine. Don't worry. You can see kind of how big this thing is. It's good to know. We'll adjust some things later, but we're going to run to the end and then reverse back to the beginning. We're going to make a boomerang out of it, right? And we're going to not repeat the first and last frame, just so it doesn't have a weird kind of stall in the middle there. So we click submit, and now we have our new one, and this one is going to go in both directions. Again, it's kind of slow, but that'll be corrected here in a second. Next thing we want to do is resize it. Since this is a token and it's a Webm file, we want this to be relatively small. You could go as low as 100 DPI. I'm just going to set it for 250 right now. It's still pretty big, but we're going to go from, right now we're at 23 megs and we're at 720 by 720. So we definitely want to get smaller. We're going to leave these at default. You can certainly play around with those as you like. And now we've got a nice smaller one. It's already playing better, easier to work with, and we've jumped all the way down to 3.74 meg. Okay, now what we're going to do, last step, is we're going to copy the image address. Now, we've done everything else. We've reversed the animation. We've gotten rid of the background. So we're going to come over here, and this is the same website, but you want to do this GIF to Webm. I actually don't know how to get to this from the main website. I have to like Google it and then get to here. You just Google GIF to Webm converter, and this should be like the first option. But if you just type in EZGif, it'll definitely come up. But you come over here, and then let's just click on that to get to a fresh new screen. We'll choose our file. Actually, instead of choosing our file, you know how we just copied that address? We're just going to paste it in there. So it's going to look for this address of this image, and we're going to click upload, even though we're not uploading anything, and it instantly pulls that over. Okay, so now we've got our 3.74 meg GIF file at 250 pixels. We're going to convert to Webm. And I am editing out a lot of the wait time here, guys. So some of these things take a couple seconds, some take a few minutes. And now we've got our final product. Let's play it. All right, that's it. So that'll keep animating backwards and forwards forever. So we've just brought our character to life. We've brought it down from 3.7 megs to 524K, right? So we can get it even smaller. From here, you can resize the video even further. But at this point, you can speed it up, slow it down, lots of good stuff in here. At this point, we're going to save it and we're going to put it into Foundry. Okay, we're back in our animation lab and we've got our character here. So let's double click him open and so here's where his artwork is normally kept. But let's choose the new one. There we go. We have our character now alive and well and ready to battle in our new scene. Cool, right? We can do things like giving him a drop shadow if we want to. There's a long one, there's a shorter one. But that's it. That's how you animate anything. So I hope you guys let me know in the comments what kind of inspiration this gives you. Really, the sky's the limit. You'll see me doing animated releases probably with every release that I do, just because there's always objects that should be or could be animated, right? Like, just having one thing like this, being able to change its color to, something that looks like really gross graying stew. I just love that. And these things they can be expensive, and you have to be careful. Expensive in terms of performance, right? You can't spam a scene with these things, but just having one tile like this in a scene could just give it that nice little like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Or being able to animate your tokens that your players are so invested in and have them be able to see them maybe swinging a sword or doing other things. It's just really, really awesome. Yeah, again, let me know in the comments if you have a better way, if you have different tools, alternative tools. Let me know if you want me to show you guys stuff like this in the future. I know AI can be like a really sensitive subject, but things like this feel like they're good use cases, and I think they can take whatever artist that you're supporting and you can be able to do more with the artwork that they give you. And I think that's really good. I hope encourage that you all will take like my artwork. If you want something animated, by all means do it. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see my stuff get used and come to life in new ways. And if it means that you're supporting me, I mean, that's even better. But mostly I just want you guys to know how to do this stuff yourselves so that you can really decide when and where you want to surprise your characters and give them a really cool experience. So with that, thanks everybody for supporting the channel, for commenting and liking. If you haven't hit it already, subscribe, like this video, comment. Those things all help us with the algorithm. And until I see you next time, have fun making your maps.